Welcome back. Late last night, the House passed a bill that would extend child tax credits as well as certain corporate tax breaks. It is something that has received bipartisan support. Let's talk about that with my guest tonight, the Congresswoman from Virginia's 7th District, out and about in the district today, Abigail Spanberger, up late with me tonight on the Final Five. Out and about in your district, I see.
Absolutely, Jim. Thanks for having me on. I just finished up a small business tour in Prince William County, and now I am along I-95, as you can see, in the wonderful 7th District. But glad to be with you. We did have that vote last night, a bipartisan vote. Really significant. This legislation was negotiated between the House and the Senate, Democrats and Republicans. And it is monumental for the impact that it will have on working families across Virginia and across the country. This legislation will have meaningful impact and lift hundreds of thousands of kids across Virginia out of poverty and their families into better economic circumstance. This is a bill that's going to have an important impact on Virginia's working families. As well as important impacts on expanding affordable housing and supporting small and medium-sized businesses. I mean, the impacts are across the board, which is why you saw so many members of Congress come together to support it.
And this was something we had a conservative commentator on the show last week who was advocating for this as well. So this is something that clearly you have the support for. It goes on to the Senate right now. Do we have any indication what sort of a road is ahead for this?
So speaking to my Senate counterparts, I mean, the overwhelming House vote certainly sets it up for success. And hearing from my Senate counterparts at this point, it's a matter of when it gets put on the Senate floor. And the expectation is that it will pass and that it will get to the president's desk. And so this is, such an important step forward for so many people, but particularly working families across the 7th and the rest of the Commonwealth.
And clearly, when we're looking at things going through this Congress right now, which is, as you and I have discussed many times, very, very divided, narrowly divided, but very divided. When you can get something where people are on the same page, that's a big achievement. Which brings us to a debate that's going on right now in Congress over an immigration bill, over a border bill, something that the text we've not seen any text on this yet, but there already are lines being drawn in this. Am I correct? You have not seen anything aside from maybe some framework?
That's correct. The expectation is what we're hearing is full text will be released ideally tomorrow. And so it's absolutely ridiculous that we would have members of Congress already saying that they are in opposition to a bill that is being carefully negotiated with Democrats and Republicans. Everyone is saying that it's not a perfect bill, but it is the bipartisan bill that they are working to negotiate. We have a tremendous challenge facing our nation in terms of our need for, updating our efforts at the southern border. What we are asking of our Border Patrol agents, and I'm a former federal agent. I used to work narcotics and money laundering cases as a CIA officer. I worked counter narcotics for a time, and it's an issue of funding, but it's also an issue of policy. And so ensuring that we are updating and reforming the systems under which the men and women protecting our country are serving is so incredibly important. And already to hear the Speaker of the House say that he might not bring the bill or he might be in opposition of it, it is too soon to be saying that. And I think any bill that could potentially pass the United States Senate with the 60 vote or more threshold deserves an honest and clear-eyed review in the House of Representatives. It's our obligation, particularly as we are continuing to face real challenges as a country.
I think what struck me is what was extraordinary in this is the power that it would give the White House to unilaterally say we could shut down the border, we can halt border crossings if it hits a certain threshold, or if the president seems to think it's reached that point, which is something that I don't believe we've seen in past efforts to advance this sort of legislation out there.
Yeah, that's correct, and that element of this bill has been widely reported, and notably, many people have some consternation about myself included, about what the details of those provisions would be as they are written. But despite consternation, despite wanting to make sure that I dig into the details of this legislation, I am not going to come out and say I am categorically going to denounce what have been months long worth of effort of senators working on this bill. Notably, we have a bipartisan border security and immigration reform bill that deals with both elements of our challenge in a fulsome bipartisan way. It's called the Dignity Act. I'm proud to be a co-sponsor of that bill. And certainly I know the work that goes into actually coming to some type of bipartisan agreement on what is not just a difficult issue for our country to kind of grapple with, but also an issue that has become the center of just partisan gamesmanship and bickering. And so to see some of my Republican colleagues already coming out saying, no, we need this controversy because we need this crisis in order to facilitate the presidential campaign of Donald Trump is, to me, that's just shameful. We're here to fix problems. We're here to address problems. And we may not, in this case, even say you're against a potential solution without even knowing what is getting put forward. To me, it's wholly irresponsible.
Well, like you said, we got to read the bill. We got to see what's in it. It hasn't stopped sometimes seeing votes on legislation, but we're going to see where that all shakes out from there. I know you have to get back to Washington. Congressman, good to see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.